First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right. For God's sakes. We have Senator Joe Griffo in studio right now. Senator, good morning.
Good morning.
Congratulations on a big win.
Yes, congrats. Thank you. Appreciate that. And thanks to the voters, too. I sincerely appreciate the vote of confidence. It's very humbling, I'll tell you. After
it's a close race.
That's the thing that really made it so significant to me, that the margins were so high. It was an overwhelming victory.
Democrats and independents voted for you.
Yeah, and that's good because we work hard, and you guys know that. I mean, that's the way I was raised. You work hard, be honest, respect people.
Yeah.
We were available and accessible. I think we handled constituent problems. We delivered resources. We passed legislation. So, this is it's very, I'm honored to serve and represent, but also humbled by this, particularly when you consider the environment that we're in right now, the political environment. So I thank the voters for their support, and I will continue to do my best to put all my energy and effort into service to the people that I represent.
So there's a lot going to be going on. Of course, this is for you a big victory. One of the things that I think a lot of people were talking about is, you do believe in term limits, and you talk about term limits. You know that I am not a fan of term limits. However, this is the way it is, so you run. But I do believe there's something to be said for having representatives who know their way around Albany, and when we need help with something, they can reach out and get something done.
Yeah, and I understand that, and people are going to have differences of opinion. But again, under that premise, and I respect your opinion, there are some members that have been there a long time and still don't know how to get around and who to get to.
But isn't that the voters' fault? I mean, they just keep
reflection
re-electing
of the
him.
individual, and then
today there's no excuse. You will have an opponent because the state is using taxpayer dollars to pay people to run against incumbents.
And my point is why I support term limits is because I think you just need that overall change regularly, not individual change, but overall change. And but it is now based on seniority. And if you are doing the job, and I like to believe, and I know that we are, and using the networks, using connections, using knowledge of the system, regardless of whether you sit in the majority or minority, we can still get things done to benefit the people I represent and the region that we represent. Yeah. So, and if I could decide tomorrow, if I could pull a George Washington and it would work and everybody would follow suit, I would consider doing it, but that would never happen. I'd leave and everybody else would stay. Right. So my premise there is that I want to change these rules, and I'll work to change these rules. In fact, we do have a rule of the Senate that puts term limits on the leaders and the chairs of committee, thanks to my efforts. But until the rules or law changed, I'll play by the ones that exist.
Do you know that? And I know this because you are a history buff as well. And you know when the term limits were imposed on the presidency? Did not come
after FDR's 25th Amendment,
50s.
Right? Yeah.
So,
but everybody followed Washington's rule.
That is true for the most part,
right?
He hung around for, and at one point, I think towards the end, his wife the first lady was running the country. It's with everything that occurred. Obviously, there's a big presidential election with results that some say I knew it was going to happen, but for the most part, I think everybody was pretty amazed by the win, especially after we were told how razor thin everything was going to be. So there's that, but then there are some after effects, and I wanted to get your take on Elise Stefanik. Everybody's very excited that Elise Stefanik is going to be handling Griffiths, that she will be the congressperson for the city of Rome, or will she?
So first and foremost, as you indicated, when everybody was asking for a prediction on the the national elections, it was tough to do. Our focus was on our own campaign.
Sure. Yeah.
But the one sense I got, and I think we talked about this last week when we were on the show here, that I thought it wasn't going to be this, basically all-nighter, where we wouldn't know.
Right.
The one thing I had a sense as I was seeing and hearing things from people is that it was going to break. Now, which way it broke, I didn't know.
Hard to tell.
It was
Although it felt like Trump had
momentum.
The momentum.
Right.
She had it early in September, but he seemed to recapture the momentum there.
Right.
I felt anyway.
And then I came to believe that it would be a win that night, election night, or the next day. We know who our next president would be, as opposed to this nail biter. Now you're going to have a lot of things.
So Hagen Stefanik and
the Congresswoman.
I think she's going to get some offers that are really good.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, she'll have to make an ultimate decision on her own as to what is best for her and her family. But I think she will be in contention for a cabinet level position. I believe she may have an interest in serving the country in a different way, potentially. A lot will depend, I think, upon, and I don't have any inside information here right now, but a lot will depend upon the makeup of the Congress. If it's real close, what does she do?
Let's skip forward. I because there's a bush, I don't want to beat around it.
What do you want to know where she might end up?
No. I think there's a good chance she's going to leave Congress. It's going to open the door.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
she's made inroads there. I mean, she's been there a while.
And my guess would be right now a position that I think would interest her would be the ambassador, UN ambassador.
Okay.
We'll give her a chance to still be in New York.
I want to get past
you
that.
Want to get past that?
If she leaves, are you considering a run for Congress?
Wow. I've turned down the opportunity to run for Congress twice, and at this point in time, I don't have an interest in that.
I mean, you have
point
Rome.
in time. I mean, you live in the district. You're popular.
You just
in that
won by
district.
70% of the vote.
You
70,
outperformed her and Trump.
Yeah, but right now, I think what would happen is the way the process works. Should she leave, she would have to resign her seat in order to take a cabinet position. The governor then establishes when the special would be. So I would guess if she left to take. The president gets sworn in on January 20th.
Okay.
So that would be mid-January. I would think the governor would try to hold a special election probably in, there's a couple ways you could do this. You could hold a special right away, which would be February or March. But then there's a primary in June. You could wait just to June and let that be.
And no special election. It would be a special election. Because there will be two if you do.
There could be two elections.
Yeah.
Right.
So here's what could happen. They could hold an election in March.
Right.
Name an interim congressperson.
Correct.
That election
who determines that?
The parties do. So there's no primary in that. So the way
you nominate. So the parties put somebody forth.
Correct.
And then. In November, there would be another election,
general,
which would be for the 2-year term.
For the remainder, the 1-year term, because it would be only right, because it's only.
Then they'd have to run again. There'd be another election.
So what you're looking at potentially is an individual running in a special. Then there may be a primary because there's going to be a lot of people who may have an interest in the seat if it's open, and only one gets designated, as I indicated to you, unless everybody just coalesces and there's a consensus. This is the person, and then they support him. So there could be potentially a special, a primary, and a general, and then followed by the next general.
So can you imagine? I just want to throw out some possibilities.
Okay.
Because remember, in Congress, you do not need to live the way Katie Ayala lives, in hiding. Okay? You can be upfront and say, I don't live in the district.
You have to move into the district, though, once you're
You
elected.
do, but that opens the door for a few possibilities.
Okay.
Brandon Williams. Would he be interested? Claudia Tenney. Saw her on a lot of direct mail pieces here locally. Robert Smolin would be a possibility. The assemblyman who went unopposed this time around. He is more from that area, but also represents
and
here.
And he has a military background. I mean, that would be appealing to the Fort Drum.
Has a very strong military background. Have I missed anybody else?
It's a unique, there's a number of state
and
senators.
How about Anthony Brindisi pulling off the greatest gig of all? He'll now, or is now, or will be a federal judge.
Is
Has he been confirmed?
He has not been confirmed yet,
yeah.
so this got to be confirmed by the Senate. He's been nominated and interviewed and appeared before committees of the
and that's
Congress.
big. It keeps the seat in Utica.
Right.
Judge Hurd's position there.
Right.
Anyway,
but there are a number of
I'm ruling him out.
There are a number of assembly individuals in that area that could have an interest. Senators, Steck.
But Smullen has a good name in terms of he's not that well known here, but he does represent here.
This is over, I got to be honest. I remember how many counties, at least 13
It's
counties.
a big district.
So you have to look at where you're stretching from the North Country, right? In Clinton County, and Jefferson County, and St. Lawrence County.
Around
you go
Albany.
into Albany in the Capital District,
So
which
she
is where
does,
she came from,
Yeah,
right? The Glens Falls area, that area there.
So
and Saratoga,
all the way
and
across.
it comes down into Oneida County, Herkimer County, goes into some Fulton, I believe, in that area. So this is a vast district, and there's going to be a lot of players, and I'm not sure how they'll ultimately ascertain and determine if she takes a position in the cabinet, who the successor will be.
So in discussing all of this, and you may have mentioned it, I'm still maybe confused about it. So the 20th, it's somewhere around there, Trump's sworn in, she gets selected to be the UN ambassador. There's still going to be the special election, but who holds that seat in the I know we talked about finding an interim person.
I think we'll know before,
who holds
right?
the seat?
Well, it depends. If she were to resign, the seat would be empty for maybe a month or something.
Okay, so it would just be empty.
and we'll know.
And you
before.
got a lot of names, like you said. I mean, we were talking about Williams and Molinaro, even.
Molinaro's possibility.
Who's on the fringes of that district.
Now he's not lost as of yet, right? I don't. Although there are some that have called it, that's
close. Yeah,
there's a lot of provisional and absentee ballots that are still out there. So this is going to be very interesting. And then you're going to have, let's not forget, although I don't think a Democrat can win in that district, you're going to have the governor who would like to see a Democrat put in there, and that's just
you had a Democrat before Elise, though. There was Owens,
right?
But it was much more North Country driven at the time, and there was a Democrat there. There are a lot of
They're going to see a potential opening. A lot of possibilities, but you're ruling it out.
No, he's not. Look at him.
Yes, I have no interest in that. At this point, like I said, I've just got elected to serve the people of the 51st, and
there's another one that I just thought of is County Executive Anthony Pacini.
County Executive Pacini. There's a lot of great local leaders too, mayors.
We got to get him on Monday, and
but I think
is it Jackie Izzo's chance to get back in? I mean, there are just names that are out there.
But think of what you're doing right now, right? I think that's where
causing trouble.
Well,
I don't mean to be.
But there's
ruffling feathers.
No, but there's voter fatigue. You're already looking at everybody's. I can't wait to see El Tejan on TV again and Ricky Z. And you want to bring on all the politicians again.
Joe, I make commercials for a living. Come on. Let's have elections year round.
And you do a good job.
Well, listen, you had a lot of people. What I thought was really good about your campaign this year, and then we'll break and come back. And if anybody has any questions of Senator Griffo, 315-736-0186. You had a lot of people. Wayne, I'm going to take you before I break because I know you've been waiting. You had a lot of people coming out, not endorsing. I don't know if you heard me talking about how I don't feel endorsements move the needle at all.
I agree with you,
but I do feel testimonials play a role. Like when Art Ellis was sitting there talking about how he credits you for saving his life, or all those people that came out and said, I'm with Joe, that was a very unique campaign approach, and I think it was very effective, and it had to make you feel pretty good. You had a lot of support.
Yeah, absolutely. And even when you talk about endorsements, I agree with what you say about moving the needle, but it is encouraging when you're vying with your opposition to receive endorsements, whether they're from the PBAs, the organized labor, the business community. And we were very fortunate to, wherever we competed, we were able to get everyone to say, they supported me and believed in me. And that was, again, I'm very grateful for that too.
Except there were a few. I did not understand what they were saying. They were speaking a foreign language. So there was Polish in there, there was Bosnian, and that also was
Spanish.
And Spanish, that also was a bit of a tip of the hat to you as well. You should be proud of that. Wayne, you're on with Senator Griffo, and then I'll break.
Hey, I got a saying, Joe goes when Joe wants to go.
Oh, okay.
When Joe's ready to go, Joe goes. Nobody makes Joe go.
Nobody puts Joe in the corner.
That's right. That's what I like about Joe.
Thank you, Wayne.
Hey, I just want, and this, I'm not saying it to jab or poke anybody, but I wanted to know, all of you, even Joe, what's your opinion on what had happened with the late night shows and everybody coming on crying to open up their show?
Yeah, I mean, Kimmel was
He was crying.
Kimmel was crying. At the end,
I haven't seen any.
Yeah. Well, listen, if you want to answer that?
I haven't seen any of the shows. So
Listen, be a good winner. That's what I would say, Wayne. These are people, clearly they feel impassioned.
A sore loser and a good winner.
I'm saying they feel incredibly passionate about, and there are a lot of people out there that are very on edge right now because they feel the election was very, very bad. They feel that way. So I would say, you as a Trump supporter, be a good winner and bring the country together. That would be a really positive, I feel.
It's nice of you guys. It's nice of you Obama supporters to say something like that now when you should have thought that way even then. Everybody should be thinking that all the time.
I know who you're calling an Obama supporter, but I will say, I will say this, Wayne. You have an opportunity, and Trump has a real opportunity here. The country is so divided. For God's sakes, we have to come together as a country. And Biden said he was going to do it, and it didn't happen. So Trump has a second opportunity at that, and I hope it happens. I think Andrew, you said it the other day. He said he's going to be a unifier.
That's what he said.
And we all hope that is what happens. So and Wayne has hung up because I think when I hit that button, he can't hear me. Anyway, would you agree with that?
Well, look,
time to come together.
America has spoken. And I mean, I think what the governor and the attorney general did the other day was wrong.
That was wrong.
Outrageous.
No doubt about it.
People un-American.
Pisani actually had a statement out
last night.
Admonishing them.
I saw his
and
tweet.
rightly so, because, I mean, that's the wrong approach right now.
No doubt.
You got to be sensitive to people's feelings. At this point, people feel a certain way, but country has spoken, and you need to respect that. And I do believe that there's opportunities for all of us. You don't have to abandon your core political or philosophic or moral beliefs, but we also have to find common ground and exercise common sense and try to get things done. You have to govern.
You're not necessarily going to believe in everything that he does, but he still has to be your president. He is everyone's president. This is how America is supposed to work.
Right. And I think that's what's wrong when you have, like I said, you can't control how people feel emotionally or how they act emotionally, and you have to respect that. But on the other hand, when you're in public office and you're undertaking or uttering things like the Attorney General in New York did and the governor did, that is unfortunate, and that leads to what you're saying. That further. Well,
it's not going to help you with your Micron deal, for God's sakes. Why are you going down that road?
But it's just not necessary.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I agree.
I think at this point in time, as you said, let's focus on how do we rebuild this type of working relationship where we can govern and get things done.
And that's the key. We're always going to disagree. But it seems like we've reached a point where nothing can get done because we're all dug in so deeply. It's time to understand that, Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan, they found ways to get things done. And we go back to that.
You're right.
I feel anyway. And let me break and we'll come back with Senator Joe Griffo. And if you have any questions, 315-736-0186.